Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Turned down a little bit. Okay, I like it. Sorry, I got a new sound device and I'm fucking with it. I'm just having a great time with this thing. But, and, you know, I'm also, like, looking into other, like, streaming platforms and all that kind of, well, things that I can, like, put my shit together with. I'm looking, working everything out, because I'm cheap. The last one I had, I, like, forgot to pay the thing, and I can have the watermark up there, but I was like, no watermark. At least not right now. I might do one just to have the watermark up there. It'd be on that side when I do it. This is a total different one. There's no watermark at all, and I'm thrilled to death. That doesn't matter. What really matters now are Nazis. Specifically, Nazis in New York. Apparently, Trump had a rally in New York, and if you didn't know it, that's where Nazis have their rallies. No, serious. So you got to worry about that stuff, you know. Even though Nazis are socialists, like National Socialists, that's where Nazi comes from, and the only socialists in America are on the Democratic Party, and like Ukraine has been given billions and billions of dollars. I'm gonna turn this down. Billions of dollars from our government during the Biden-Harris administration, the Democrats giving billions, and Doug LaMalfa and all you other Republicans that signed off on that, shame on you. You gave money to Nazis. You gave money to Democrats. Democrats are Nazis. That's all there is to it. When they call, like, Republicans Nazis, that's because that's what they are. It's like when they accuse Donald Trump of, like, embezzling or whatever. It's because they're doing it. They always accuse their opponent of what they do. The Nazis! Oh my God. Such a good song. Yeah, I got I've been like loading up a couple of these things. I think they're fun as hell. I guess I'll turn that off. No, don't touch. I'm like scared to touch the fucking thing because, you know, I don't know what I'm doing yet. As far as how everything goes. On the other platform I was comfortable, but I'm cheap, so I'm not going to pay the fucking $90 to keep the subscription up. But I wanted to go through the whole Nazi Hitler rally that Trump had in Madison Square Garden. And, like, they had Elon Musk there. They had RFK Jr. there. They had Tulsi was there, Tulsi Gabbard. There's a whole lineup of people that were there. And Tucker was there, of course. And so I don't want to make this long, so I'm like I said, I'm just working all this stuff out. Hopefully I'll be better, you know, when I put my ear to the grindstone. I don't think that's the proper terminology or the proper reference of when I'm saying it. When I put my mind to it, usually I can figure it out. And so I've like literally, I haven't been on for like a while because I'm just trying to figure this stuff out and trying to get it all worked out and make it better, so I don't look as bad, and at the same time too, you guys, you know, like and subscribe more. So anyways, yeah, sorry, I'm being a cheese dick. So anyways, let's just here's Tucker, and let's see what Tucker does here at the Nazi rally here and in New York.
I saw the Grateful Dead in this arena in 1987. I was seated right there. How weird. It's such an honor to be here, and it's wild. Just another day following Bobby Kennedy Jr. at a Donald Trump rally in Madison Square Garden.
Dude, that's so weird. To have a Kennedy.
That's totally normal.
That's great.
Liz Cheney's out there. with Kamala Harris. And there's Bobby Kennedy calling to protect women's sports at a Trump rally. It's a realignment. It's unbelievable. And the fact that it's here is even sweeter. Imagine if you're, and just pause for one moment. Imagine you're Donald Trump.
Have you ever considered at-home needling?
Oh, no.
This is Cure's micro-infusion system. Now, it's gone viral several times on social media.
You're from New York City, you become famous in New York City, you make your fortune in New York City, and all of a sudden the leadership of New York City decides they're going to destroy you because they don't like your politics. And so they, yeah, boo. Imagine if that were you, though. And they try and take everything that you have, they try and put you in prison.
You know, honestly, all my friends tell me it's like, you got to stop being a cheap ass and like just buy the YouTube subscription or something. Like if that's where you're getting all your source, just buy it and you don't have to worry about the commercials. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I just don't want to. I'm kind of cheap.
Try and put your children in prison. If that happened to you, how often do you think you'd be going back to New York City? How about never? And yet he's here. It's like getting thrown out of a bar. And you think to yourself, well, you know, all my friends are in the bar. And you approach the door and there's the bouncer like, you're not allowed in here. But from behind the bouncer, you hear the cheers of your friend, come on in! And the bouncer hangs his head in shame. Ugh. He's embarrassed that he's working for the man trying to keep the most popular person out of the bar. And that's Donald Trump back in the city that produced him with no embarrassment at all, in a room full of his friends. The stones that takes, the bravery that takes is incredible. Donald Trump's going to win. He's going to win. I know that that's true. Why is Donald Trump going to win? The people he's about to defeat have no idea. And they're panicked. They have no idea why people like Donald Trump. And their first theory was, well, Donald Trump is evil, so half the country's evil also. And that's one of the reasons they spent the last 4 years trying to destroy the country, because they're mad at its voters for liking Donald Trump. How much easier would it have been just to pause for 20 minutes and ask yourself honestly in some silent place, why do people like Donald Trump? And if they had been honest enough to ask themselves that question, they would have come up with the two main reasons, and here's what they are. The first reason that people like Donald Trump is because he likes them. That's why. Yep. And it's real. Affection is something you can't fake. I don't care how many times Kamala Harris would tell me she loves me, I don't believe her. I saw her kiss her husband with a mask on. A mask on. That's her version of love. It's fake. It's not real.
It's true.
They spent 10 years telling you Trump is a hater. Do you feel that on him? No, you don't. Because it's not there. I've spent a lot of time with Trump. And there's not one moment I've ever been with him off camera where he's spending his time grousing about people he hates. Ever. He's talking about the people and the country he loves in his private time. Trust me. And people know, in a country that has been taken over by a leadership class that actually despises them and their values and their history and their culture and their customs, really hates them to the point that it's trying to replace them, they know someone who actually has affection for them, and that's Donald Trump. And it's requited. It's requited. They know. When he goes to McDonald's and serves fries, like, he's not faking that at all. That's why that worked. Democratic media consultants are like, how is that working? Because it's real. That's why. And the second reason that people love Trump, and I put myself in this category, it's why I'm here today, is because he's liberated us in the deepest and truest sense. And the liberation he has brought to us is the liberation from the obligation to tell lies. Donald Trump has made it possible for the rest of us to tell the truth about the world around us. And that's the single most liberating thing you can do for people. If you want to enslave people, if you want to degrade them, force them to tell lies.
You know, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt that, but, oh yeah, I do, because I just did, but that's the thing with conspiracy theorists. I don't care whether, moon landing or 9/11 or what have you, there's so much distrust that we are now the people that saw what was happening and were like, we're patriotic. We love our country. That's why we're asking these questions. And as soon as you go, oh, you can't ask those questions and blah, 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 and you're a conspiracy theorist, then it's like, you don't understand. We're trying to get to the bottom of this because that's how our country is supposed to work for each and every individual. And like the J6 pipe bomber, I was like, well, you can't show us the regular feed. You guys pinged him, and you said that you followed him all the way to his house, and he's a Democrat operative, or not a Democrat, but like a FBI operative or something like that. And this is the guy. And then it's like, no, they weren't there, because the next day the footage came out, and later on the footage came out for the next day, and it shows them sweeping with the security dog. Doesn't even hit on it. And then you watch some fucking guy walk over there, and it's all off camera, and then walk away. And then all of a sudden, oh, it's there. And it's just, we're the crazy ones. But, that's what they say. Conspiracy theories is about, between proven true, 6 months' time, you become a conspiracy theorist. I just wait till I just really want the world to catch up to 9/11. That's just me. I don't care whether or not you think it was an inside job or not, dude. There was so much shit that happened on 9/11. It's unbelievable. And I hope Trump declassifies it all. I really do. Throw it all out there and let the chips fall where it may. We'll deal with it then. Saudi government had a big, heaping hand in it. Then you know what? We'll deal with it then. Doesn't mean we just start nuking people or killing people or anything like that. It's like, no, we need to have a realignment, because obviously there were elements inside our government that were, helping with that, or else it wouldn't have happened in the first place. And that's conspiracy theorists, people like me that are conspiracy. That's our problem. Stop lying to us, and you can only tell a lie so long before it all falls apart. But anyways, back to Tucker.
And they have. They forced us to lie about everything at gunpoint, effectively.
Stop lying.
They put people in prison for refusing to lie. And not just the obvious lies that men can become women, or Vladimir Putin blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. No, honestly, he did. January 6th was an insurrection. They were unarmed, but it was very insurrection-y.
Very insurrection.
Not even the obvious ones, but the big lie. You know what the big lie is? The big lie is that they're impressive. That's what the big lie is. That the people in charge have somehow earned the right to rule over you, and they haven't. And you know that. These are the single most useless people in the United States. They have no skills whatsoever. They've got 3/4 of the money, and they didn't earn it. They set up a system precisely for the purpose of awarding themselves wealth and power when it's undeserved. You look at Liz Cheney and you ask yourself honestly, what skill could she possibly have that allowed her to send hundreds of thousands of people to their deaths? Did she earn that? I don't think she did. No fair system would make Liz Cheney powerful. No fair system would make Larry Fink rich. No fair system would elevate someone like Kamala Harris to a presidential nomination.
That's true. She's
never been accused of doing anything useful. She has precisely no achievements. She's a nominee without getting a single vote.
Well, hold on, Tucker, hold on.
She is a
Apparently, Willie Brown liked her blowjobs, so you can accuse her of giving really good blowjobs. That's fine. I think Larry, Willie Brown would fucking, be like, yeah, that's right.
Metaphor for the system they created to make themselves rich and powerful, and then they have the gall to lecture you, the people who can actually change a flat tire and repair a power grid, who have useful jobs, who pay your taxes and work 40 hours a week, lecture you that you are somehow immoral. And Donald Trump has empowered the rest of us through mostly just sticking around in the face of their hate and abuse and persecution. He has given the rest of us the right to call BS on the charade. No, you are not better than us. No, you are not smarter than us. No, you do not deserve what you have. You probably stole it. No, you're not going to bully me into silence anymore. And I can promise you at this point, 9 days out, when Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Elon Musk and Tulsi Gabbard and pretty much every high school senior and college shorty girl in the country has come out finally say, yeah, I am for Donald Trump, actually. When the entire country has realized there is nothing embarrassing about this. What's embarrassing is to take a perfectly great country and destroy it, as they have. I'm not ashamed. You should be. At that moment, it's going to be pretty tough for them 10 days from now to look in the eye to America with a straight face. It's going to be pretty hard to look at us and say, you know what? Kamala Harris, she got 85 million votes because she's just so impressive. As the first Samoan, Malaysian, low IQ, former California prosecutor ever to be elected president, it was just a groundswell of popular support. And anyone who thinks otherwise is just a freak or a criminal. At this stage of the game, after 9 years of listening to their lies and finding every single one of them totally false, no, it's not safe and effective, and no, she's not impressive. It's very hard for me to believe the rest of us are going to say, you know what, Joe Scarborough, you're right. You're right. She won fair and square because she's just so impressive. I don't think so. And to me, that is liberation. It's the freedom to say what's obviously true as a free man and not a slave. And I just want to say thank you, Donald Trump, for that.
God bless you, Donald Trump.
Everyone is talking about...
We need to stop that. All right, get rid of that. Yeah, I got to stop being so cheap, but I don't give a fuck, you know. You ain't paying my bills. I am. But, so that was a good one, and really happy about that one. But the other one I wanted to talk to you about was, like, the whole, sorry, got a scratch. The voter fraud thing. And Trump had or not Trump, but Steven Crowder had a undercover mug club gal, get another confession like those undercover videos like James O'Keefe does. Well, Crowder's been doing them too, and they're great. And hopefully, you know, it'll help. You know, when it comes to like voter fraud, I think he should be tried for treason. I mean, honestly, if you got convicted of voter fraud, I don't care if you're like the nicest little granny or what have you. I think you need to be tried and convicted for treason and the appropriate, you know, death penalty. You don't screw with people's elections. So I do totally believe that the 2020 election was stolen from Trump. I don't give a fuck. You can, you know, you can say whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. It was stolen from the man. And the last 4 years have been hell. Gas prices, food prices, all that kind of shit. And then you see that, you know, people that you considered pay. Like, I met Joe Biggs at a Trump rally he had here in Redding, California. I like the guy. I always watched him and fucking, you know, Alex Jones on InfoWars and stuff. I love the guy. And there wasn't a mean bone in his body. And since his hand was on a fence that other people were shaking, they sentenced him to like 17 or 22 years or something like that. Like an ungodly amount of years in jail because he walked into the Capitol, and before that they can show him shaking a fence. The things they did to the January 6th, you know, people, unbelievable. And so, you know, fuck you, you know, I hope Trump pardons all of them when he gets in there. I mean, you guys literally went to war with us when we went, hey, you stole the election. And then you're like, no, we're going to put our boot over your fucking neck. And then we're going to fucking raise your gas prices and your energy costs and all your food just to spite your neck. And then we're going to fucking burn up fucking egg farms and kill all your fucking chickens with bird flu and all this weird shit that you guys fucking did to fucking hurt our economy. It's just, and then you're, you know, and destroy bridges, overturn trains. Don't worry about it. Pete Buttigieg will get to it in 5 months after his fucking baby has enough fucking breast milk from his male fucking gay lover. I mean, the whole thing is fucking seriously out of control. And you wonder why people are going to vote for Trump. Yeah, so voter fraud. I know, voter fraud. So I'd like to go ahead and just play this little thing that Steven Crowder had. I'm not going to play, I didn't do the whole episode. I'm not going to do the whole episode. I just wanted to get him into the 5 things. It's going to go a while, but I don't give a fuck because I haven't streamed in a long time and I'm having a good time doing it. And here we go, I guess.
Happens. It's not just voter fraud. It's not ballot harvesting. I mean, it may be those two, but if you focus on one component, that's where the left can say, see, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist. We're going to go through the 5 tiers, the 5 different steps, sort of these fail-safes that the left has to try and alter the course of American history. And hopefully it's helpful. All references are available. Link in the description. We make all of them public to you. None of this happens without you. November 5th, the Rumble on Rumble, the election live stream of the century. We start 6 p.m. Eastern. Join Mug Club. Click that button. It's $89 annually. Or just go mugless between now and election for $9 a month. That's a new offer. But we can't ship you the mug because we would lose money for like 2 months.
For a while.
So let's get to this. How does the left, when we talk about stealing an election,
this shit overnight,
when we talk about basically subverting a constitutional republic, I won't use the word democracy because it's misused and the people who use it are very often dumb. So there are 5 ways that it happens. Let's go through how this can alter the course of American history, change an election, change people's minds, and not with valid information. There's nothing wrong with changing your mind when new information is made available. There is something wrong with changing people's minds deliberately through the pumping of misinformation all the time, which brings us to tier number 1. This is the first way that they steal a nation. Media malpractice. It'd be one thing to just complain about it, but it's another to actually have numbers. Okay, so you've seen this. You all know about the big tech censorship. But what does that include? That includes Donald Trump's ads being blocked. That includes Trump supporters overwhelmingly being suspended on.
And that just happened, like literally Google blocked the Rogan Trump podcast. And they're like, oh, no, there was a problem with uploading to Spotify. So we had to pull it down and redo everything. And it should be good right now. And it's like, dude, fuck you. We know what you're doing. And literally, like I said, you guys fuck with the election. There should be charges of treason because, like, the Afghanistan withdrawal, 13 soldiers lost their life, like 50 or 60 of them were maimed, faces blown off, fucking, maimed for life. They'll never be the same thing. Elections do have consequences, but, the same thing for people that try to steal them. Because you can fuck shit up. Look at the invasion. Look at how many people died because of these policies that were brought in over a stolen election. You can never convince me that Joe Biden won that election fair and square. I could probably, do like fucking 5 minutes of digging, and I'll probably do it tomorrow. And I'll just show you him going, we've assembled the biggest voter fraud organization in the history of America. And Don Jr. was like, what? Because it was Joe Biden being senile, he's like, we've done it. We've got the fraud to pull it off. And everybody's like, don't worry about that. No. He's just, that's just Joe Biden. I don't know. It's crazy. But let's just get back to crowd. Like, seriously, when it comes to like election theft and election fraud, if you're going to commit that kind of shit, I do honestly believe that you need to be tried for treason. Because just look at the last 4 years. No voter ID, weeks and weeks and weeks without knowing the all the mail-in ballots and all that kind of shit with the shit you guys pull with us. We are the freest country in the world, and we have the most corrupt elections in the world. Why is that? There's too much money. Too much money in our politics, possibly. There's too much money in our government. And that's why, Trump needs to get in. He'll clean house. He's already going to do it with Elon. Elon's already fucking said I could have cut the last bill. He's like, I could have cut $5 trillion out of that thing, in a blink of an eye. And that's what we need. Because obviously the way things have been panned out, and, the Trump administration, not a lot of smart people, but there were smart people. Last administration, no smart people at all. The administration with that, with Obama's, no smart people. The Bush administration, no smart people. Clinton administration, no smart people. The Reagan administration, some smart people. It's just, it's done with. Our country has been raped enough. We've been raked over the coals enough. So, fuck these people. When it comes like the rest of the world, no, fuck the rest of the world. Like literally, if Russia and Ukraine ain't going to make a fucking deal and Ukraine ain't going to do nothing after it took all those billions of dollars from us, fuck them. Just go, okay, we're pulling out. Pull out of NATO. Fuck NATO. Fuck the UN. Tell the UN, get your fucking shit out of here. I don't know. There's a reason why I'm resentful, and I'm not the only one. It's because you guys fucking pushed it to the limit. Not everybody not you guys. You know who I'm talking about. The fucking government. You guys you pushed everything to the limit. And here we go. Anyways, let's just get back into this.
On social media versus Biden supporters, including yours truly. This channel, the biggest election stream of all time in 2020, suspended for the election stream in 2022. Demonetized so that you cannot see the biggest conservative channel that has existed. And it happens across all social media platforms. That's why Zuckerberg apologized for it. That's why Elon Musk has released some of the Twitter files. That's why we have filed so many suits as we have. You can also look at the manipulation specifically from Google. Dr. Robert Epstein's his study I believe it was called the search engine manipulation effect. You can go and read his paper. He has some data there that is more detailed than you could read in a lifetime. And he explained on this show how Google can tilt a 50-50 race very, very quantifiably to 90-10.
We've shown in experiments that just by manipulating those search suggestions they're flashing at you, we can turn a 50-50 split among undecided voters into a 90-10 split with with no one having the slightest idea that has occurred.
Well, so this is all just one tier, by the way. This is just one tier. The algorithm manipulations, the banning of ads, the promoting of other ads, the tilting of individual political races. Let's get to another very clear example. Under this same tier, the Hunter Biden laptop story, right? The one that was buried. The one that would have changed the last election, assuming that you believe everything was 100% legitimate. Just this story being buried, just this story being declared to the American public by 51 former intelligence officials as Russian disinformation, just this story being buried on social media so that people didn't have access to it. We know that 17% of Biden voters would have changed their votes had they known about the laptop. That's enough to change Georgia. That's enough to change Arizona. That's enough to change, I believe, Pennsylvania as well. We've gone through those numbers. Yes, Gerald.
It's basically, too, don't think of it like as bad pictures of Hunter Biden or something like that. It's the FBI investigation into Biden and his dealings with foreign entities. That was all said, hey, no, that's all just looped in with pictures of him doing coke and having mini M&Ms on his dong or something like that. No. There was FBI. He used mini M&Ms, of course. Those are not the peanut M&Ms.
Right.
It's definitely about Hunter Biden's connection to his father and their connection to overseas dealings.
Yes.
That would have changed.
Okay, I just wanted to say, Gerald's like a big guy. He's like an ex-football player, that guy right there. But I think he's kind of gay. I'm just saying. I think not like full-blown gay, but he's like a little gay.
And by the way, we were integral in this because we were experiencing it in real time. The first time Hunter Biden's laptop was ever shown to the world was on this very show, and I didn't know that it was going to happen. Have you seen the pictures?
This guy.
Have you seen the pictures of him with the crack pipe?
John Wright, I have.
Oh, wow. Does he at least look like cool?
Unfortunately, I can't show them to you right now, but this is the hard drive they're on.
Oh,
right
my
there.
gosh. Oh, my word. I know you're thinking, hey, that wasn't enough zeal in that reaction. I couldn't see. I was looking at a little monitor. I thought, he had like a makeshift, like a mock-up laptop. I didn't realize that was the actual
one of 3
laptop.
or 4 apparently that were floating around.
You're darn right it is.
You don't look. This is the laptop. I've seen the M&M Minis right next to his car.
Darn right, right there.
It says minis.
I didn't know you could smoke drywall in the nude, but apparently that's what it seems like a fire hazard. So tier 1, all of that media malpractice. Please check the references. That's enough to change the election.
What's weird is, Rudy Giuliani was always an insider. I mean, he was the mayor of New York at the time of 9/11. He boasted about getting rid of all that steel before even forensic examinations could be done with it. So, like, Rudy Giuliani, it's just hard to trust him, And I don't care whether or not he's with Trump or not, or he's a confidant of Trump. Maybe, fucking Trump made a deal with him. I don't know. But they always called him cross-dressing Rudy. And you could probably go on YouTube and, like, find shit on him, like, at these different balls and fucking New York events and shit where he's, like, all dressed up in drag. But he does it, like, in Halloween and stuff. But it's, like, really fucking weird. And so they always called him cross-dressing Rudy. But, no, he was a hardcore prosecutor and all that kind of shit. And they just disbarred him. They went after him hardcore because he was the guy that got the laptop. And there was no reason to go, to go to him on that, front. Yeah, he's a little queer and but he was a big political figure. And at the same time, you already like suppressed everything so much you didn't have to go after him, but you went after him anyways. It's the same thing with a lot of things. Everybody that came a Trump ally, you just went after him. And you're like, just because we were like, we don't believe your election results. Oh, no, we got to go after you.
Okay? Tier 2. You combine this with the media malpractice, weaponizing the justice system, right? And we have seen this many civil and criminal cases against Donald Trump with the express purpose of prohibiting him from running for office.
The former president of the United States, now a convicted felon, having been found guilty of 34 felony charges by a jury.
Just moments ago, the special counsel's office announced the former president will face new charges.
Breaking news, a New York jury has found the Trump Organization guilty.
A federal grand jury has voted to indict former President Trump in the January 6th investigation.
We got to lock him up.
And we showed you, we of course did the Mug Club Undercover with the member, the spokesperson of the DOJ saying they're just stacking anything that they can. These are the kinds of, these have never been prosecuted before. It's because they don't want Donald Trump to be able to run for president. Again, the man who would win the election today, and when these cases started, when these suits started, they are trying to render ineligible even though they know it's bogus. You also have not just Donald Trump, but for example, the Biden administration raiding journalists. Remember James O'Keefe? They raided his house. Remember they said that Ashley Biden's diary was illegitimate as well. They raided his house. And then later in the dead of night, they said, by the way, it turns out it's an actual thing. Yeah. They've been throwing Donald Trump's supporters in jail, right? Over 4.
Ashley Biden slept with Joe Biden. Or, well, that's probably the wrong way to go about it. Ashley Biden. I was like, he fucked her. Well, you never know. But it's like she wrote in her diary that she took a lot of inappropriate showers with her father, and it probably sexualized her or something like that. I mean, I'd have to go into it. But you can find the diary online. It's the thing with these coked up fucking Bidens. They just leave their diaries and their laptops everywhere. It's almost like too perfect, right? It's fucking weird, dude. But anyways, it was all admitted that, it was her diary. And she was like, in the diary, she's like, it probably hypersexualized me. And, I fucking took inappropriate showers with my dad and shit. Dude, these fucking people are disgusting. And we had, before we kicked the British out of here, we had the same problem with that government. You know what I'm saying? Bunch of fucking inbreds, bunch of fucking sick, sadistic people. And here we are. And that's what a lot of us people have a problem with, the fucking Washington, D.C. That's the reason why they call it the swamp. There's nothing but like a bunch of fucking swamp creatures in there. It's like, fuck, dude. Kick them all out. But after COVID and everything like that, and they showed their hand on how horrible and miserable they can be and how much they think about us, common folk. treason. And like I said, we need to go back to the 2020 election. Like, I really hope Trump gets in and all the fraudulent shit in 2024 that happens this year with the election. I want him to prosecute that, but then I want him to squeeze everybody, find out what happened in the 2020 election, and get those people too, because you know you're going to miss them. Unless you do that, unless you go back and see what happened then, you're going to miss the big players. And they need to be shot too for treason. Anyways, let's go back to fucking Crowder. Sorry about that. I'm not sorry about that. I'm actually proud of what I said.
1,400 people from January 6th. 500 of them were jailed. I believe it was 1,400 were charged.
Yeah.
A lot of them did nothing more than trespass. Some of them didn't even trespass, by the way. Some of them were invited in. You have Navarro. You have Bannon jailed for contempt of Congress. You have Manafort, who was jailed for things that happened years before Donald Trump's presidency. You've had threats of jail for many supporters, and so they've had to turn on Donald Trump. The message has been very, very clear that's been sent from the Democrat Party and this administration. If you work for Donald Trump or if you are associated with him, we will jail you. So you have the media malpractice, which also echoes, right? They echo the false narrative of Donald Trump being a felon. They echo the narrative of discrediting people like James O'Keefe, us as well. Malcolm Undercover, these people have no ethics. And at that same time, the world's most powerful intelligence agencies are silencing investigative journalists behind the scenes and anyone who supports Donald Trump. So you have media malpractice. That's number one. It's enough. The weaponizing of the DOJ. That's enough. That changes swing states. Let's get to tier number 3. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. Changing election laws. So before we get to the votes, before we get to the ballot harvesting, before we get to potential direct fraud, changing the laws of how elections are conducted in this country in a way that is unprecedented. For example, Pennsylvania violated state constitution by changing their election laws. It, by the way, was permitted by Democrat judges. And to be clear, it was acknowledged that this was in violation.
And that is true. In the Constitution, and because the Constitution lays this out, that only state electors are able to write the laws for the election. Judges aren't allowed to change them. Period. The end. There is nothing that says like, okay, the state electorals, they can change the laws unless a judge disagrees with that. Never says that. And this should go to the Supreme Court. Pardon me. Oh, goodness. But the Supreme Court should look at it and go, we have no right, as this is the separation of powers. If the electorate says this is how the election is run, we can't define that. It's up to them to upgrade and define. We could probably put a hold and say, hey, you got to define this this law a little bit better. But when it comes to election laws, not even the Supreme Court. That was the thing with like Al Gore and George Bush. They were like, oh, the Supreme Court stepped in and they decided the election. And that's one of the reasons why none of the courts wanted to hear Trump when he said, I've got all these problems and these courts are saying that they can change the fucking election. No, the courts didn't want to hear that, of course. Of course. So, fuck. I'll just get on with this, but
of their state constitution. But then they said it's moot because the election was held anyway. Yep. So the misdeed is committed. Well, you can't stop it because we don't know if this could actually encourage fraud. We haven't experienced it yet. And then when you say this has happened, yeah, but it's a moot point now because the election's already been done. There's nothing you can do about it. You look at not only Pennsylvania's a very clear example, but nationwide. You had expanded mass mail-in voting. You had drop boxes. You have 14 states that do not require any voter ID at polls. 24 states, by the way, offer exceptions to their voter ID laws. Many of these states, you can vote with an ID that doesn't require any proof of citizenship when you get that ID, so you might as well not need voter ID. But you have 14 states, no voter ID whatsoever because something, racism. Then you have direct attempts to keep Donald Trump off the ballot. You had that in Colorado, Illinois, Maine. So we've gone through 3 tiers. You have media malpractice, you have the weaponizing of the DOJ, you have changing of election laws. Okay, now that
don't forget fighting every voter ID law that comes up to Congress. Right. Dems fighting to make sure that you have to do that. In other states where you just have to check a box that says I'm a U.S. citizen. Right. And they count that as some kind of a guard against it.
Promise?
Yes.
By the way, Toolman, are we going in descending order or ascending? I was going 5, 4, 3, 2. Are we going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, okay.
We're on number 4.
No, you did it right.
All right. Good. Then I got it. Okay. We're on number 4.
Yeah.
I always forget if we're going in ascending or descending.
4. Ha!
Good news is you don't have to trust this dummy. Just go check the references. We make those available every time. So number 4, this tier, is now you're dealing with errors that are unresolvable and maybe might be a one-off, but if you have enough of these one-off malfunctions, it affects the election. Let me give you some examples right here. 2022, what happened in Maricopa County? Oh, voting machines malfunctioned on Election Day, where people had to wait for hours. I don't know if you know this. If you work for a living, you take a few hours off in the first half of the day. You go back in the second. Well, you're not able to maybe go back.
Yeah, that was in 2022 when they stole Carrie Lake's election when she was going for governor of Arizona because she fucking vowed to fucking close up the border. However, Katie Hobbs, who is like the dickhead number 2 in charge, like the Secretary of State, she was like fucking in charge of the elections. And somehow in the heavy red districts, their voting machines malfunctioned. It's just, it's, people are fucking tired of it, and it's fucking stupid, and, this is one of the reasons why they authorized why the Biden administration authorized the fucking Pentagon to tell the military that they can shoot American citizens if everything goes in an upheaval. Because the American public is going to be like, you fucking cheated us out of another election. We're done with you. We are done with you. We are doing it the right way. Don't make us do it the wrong way. I think that's what we're saying. You guys are just fucking pricks. I think you got to sit this one out, and hopefully you weren't the people that committed treason.
Especially if the voting precincts are all in one area, meaning politically red areas or blue areas. It never happens in blue areas. It happens in red areas.
Yeah.
Hey, that affects it. Michigan, 500,000 more people on the voter rolls than there are eligible voters. Those will be on the voter rolls. So these are malfunctions. These are errors that cannot be corrected. Right? Let's think about that. So 500,000 more people on the voter rolls than actually could vote in Michigan. And by the way, quite a lively bunch. Isn't that right? Let's go to
said.
He voted.
A man speaks few words, but they mean something.
That's Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
He's voting in an hour.
2024 in Virginia, right? They have now been officially, this happened Friday, I believe, evening. They're prohibited from removing 1,600 ineligible non-citizens from voter rolls.
We covered that story. It was the most benign thing ever. They had opportunities to cure it. They could show up same day and register to vote.
Right.
But they were like, no, let's just keep 1,600 people on here who cannot vote in this state, in this nation. What?
So
how do they justify that?
What do you mean? They don't need to justify.
They have to. We're a land. We should be a land where you have to justify how you do this. Otherwise, people start taking things into their own hands, and that's not a good idea.
You got too into that Nazi drinking coffee bit because I don't like what I'm seeing, Gerald.
9!
So we're going through this, right? Just think of it as kind of a reverse pyramid. The one that affects more people, you have the media malpractice, you have the weaponizing of the DOJ, you have the changing of election laws, then you have the unresolvable malfunctions, and then this finally brings us to tier 5, where a lot of people spend their focus. It matters, but it's more difficult to prove, and it's not the only one that matters, and that's the outright voter fraud. Okay? So examples of this is where you see ballot harvesting, right? 28 states and D.C. either have no guidance on returning ballots, meaning anyone can return them, or anyone chosen by voter can return their ballot. So anyone can return the ballot. Anyone can grab the ballot, drop it off. For example, in Nevada, we've also uncovered some voter fraud there. You lived it with us. Then this was removed. Again, you have media malpractice. We investigated registered voters at fake addresses, places where the people didn't live and the people themselves may not even exist. And you can believe your lying eyes and ears. Susan Ray Emery, 1732 Yale Street, apartment 409, right about now. Well, hold on a second.
There's nothing there.
That one's even detailed. It's apartment 409. This is Susana Maria Lopez, 1009 South 17th Street. Junior Choi, you can explain to us. So what is this exactly?
Okay, so I actually took multiple pictures and videos of this one because there was no 2175. So basically, the house numbers start from 2730 and end at 2834 on that street.
And if you don't remember, we did this across multiple states, and we actually reported the findings, right? Then the registrar, I believe, of Clark County, updated some addresses. For example, one of the addresses we went to, updated it and changed it. Oh, maybe we had it wrong. Maybe it hadn't been updated. But we went to the new address, and this person never lived there either. And by the way, they updated them in the middle of the night when they were not supposed to. They posted on their own website, the county, we update our voter rolls one day, I believe, per month. It is this day at this time. They did it on an entirely different day at an entirely different time for a new address that also was illegitimate. And here's the issue. We can't prove all of it. We went through, I don't remember how many it was, somewhere between 10 and 20, right? Actually had to fly people across the country. We asked the registrar, okay, what happens if we're telling you that this first address was not legitimate and even the update in the dead of night on the wrong day that you popped in there is not legitimate? What can be done? We can't prove all of it, but what can be done about this one illegitimate vote? Assume for a second that I'm not lying about all of this, okay? Let's just go with me. Assume that you take 20 minutes out of your day as an official working there to maintain election integrity. You go there and you notice that Gupana doesn't live there either, as I am telling you. What's the recourse there? How do we fix it, considering that the election has already been conducted?
I'll have to check into that, but I'm not aware of a law that would.
He doesn't want to check into it.
Allow us to do what you're asking. I'm not aware of a law that would allow us to take that sort of action, but.
Thank you. That's exactly my issue, along with these thousands of other votes on the rolls. I appreciate your time. Dan, thank you. I hope that you go and visit that address. Appreciate it. And so there you go. When you get through all of it, and you get to the worst case scenario,
fucking bitch,
we have a country where nothing can be done about it. And then you are gaslit, where you are told this isn't happening, and if you think it's happening, or you think that we should have some kind of remedy, you must be an insurrectionist. So we've gone through this, right? You have tier number, well, we go through 1 through 5. We have media malpractice, okay? That's one right there. The weaponizing of the DOJ. Then we have the, I believe it was the changing of laws.
All right, I'm going to stop this because I got to fast forward a little bit. He finds an operative in the, I think, Georgia election board, and he does an undercover thing. So I'm just going to fast forward and see if he gets to it. I shouldn't spend too much time on it, but you know what? I'm done spending time on it. You gotta just go to the ladder with Crowder. Fuck. But I'll give you a little taste. And yeah, I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, but I'll give you a little taste of it. And,
potentially in Georgia. Of course, you remember that Georgia, nothing happened there.
No.
I was going to say again, or is this?
No, nothing ever happened there. Free and fair elections. Don't ever watch Kill Chain on HBO, specifically in Georgia for the Stacey Abrams election that they said was illegitimate. But then the left and HBO buried it. If you have HBO or Max, you can go watch Kill Chain. Spell it out. Kill Chain, where it's entirely.
It's the fucking 2024 election, so we all got to put our foot in. That's one of the reasons why I started podcasting. Is because I can always bitch to my friends and everything like that. But bitching online is so much more fun. And I can go through the whole fucking thing. But here I am. And so we got to do this. Let's do this.
About potential voter fraud in Georgia. But don't watch it. But go search it and see what you think. But don't watch it. Okay?
Don't watch it.
So we have some exclusive footage now.
Watch it.
As it relates to Georgia that would suggest there absolutely could have been foul play. So we just went tiers 1 through 5, but we want to focus on what it is that we can prove. or focus on at least what it is that warrants investigation. So we actually were sent some footage exclusively from a source in Georgia showing a Democratic operative making some very concerning claims about election fraud. The operative is Joel Caldwell. This person is the director of operations for Coalition for the People's Agenda. This is a career for this man. It is not a part-time job. We did do a background check on Joel, and allegedly he's had quite a few run-ins with the law. So perfect for voter organization.
Yeah.
Let's go to the first clip that we have, and we're going to be showing this to you, and you can check all of the clips by themselves, of course, on social media. First, let me set the stage. Do you remember the last national election? The media reported that a pipe had burst, and that was causing the delays in counting at Atlanta's State Farm Arena. We were live when that happened. That was the story that we were given. So they're going to stop the count. Something pipe burst.
Of all the times for a plumbing issue.
That is right, Cheryl. Early this morning, we were told was a water main break above the room I'm standing in here at State Farm Arena. And right now they are counting the absentee ballots. But earlier today, because of that water main break, they lost about 2 hours of work on the absentee ballot processing. So they are trying to make up that time now. They currently are getting through the absentee ballots. All the ballots being processed behind me are the ballots that were received today by the 7 p.m. Fulton County deadline, or state deadline, for absentee ballots to be received.
And I do find it difficult to appear authoritative when I'm wearing a thong on my face.
Jaguar print.
Yes.
Aggressive.
So then, I remember, pipe burst, they're going to halt counting, but some more footage circulated showing that.
They made it seem like nothing had, like they legitimately had leak issues.
Yeah, so they had said it was leak issues. So you see them on the video putting everything up. And they left. No, they put someone put stuff up, and then you see them leave. Then they was out in the parking lot when I guess they told them they could come back in. Or they was out in the parking lot and they was gonna go back to headquarters. And so the Republicans left, the Republican watchers, they all left. So after they left, the Democrats went back in there and started counting. So that's the videotape. You see them when they're walking back in, pulling the shit out from underneath the tables, and during that hour, and then the other part was that.
Well, right there, folks. I mean, he just said it himself. So, like I said, you ought to go to Louder with Crowder. It's late. I should really go to bed. I probably got to edit this all this shit. I might do it tomorrow. I might do it tonight. I don't know. But we got not a lot of time left till the next election. And so everybody go out and vote. I don't care. I don't care who you want to vote for. Everybody should go out and vote. I don't care if you're Republican, Independent. I don't care if you're Green Party. Vote for who you want to, but everybody should vote like this world depends on it. I don't care if you think your candidate's up or not. I'm going to vote for Trump. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I'm voting for Trump. And I know right now, like, all the polls are up and everything like that, and everyone's like, oh yeah, he's going to do great. He's going to win it. Oh, I'm not going to sit this one out. No. Everybody needs to go out and vote. Vote for what kind of country you really want. Because we've been ruled by Marxists and socialists for the last 4 years. That's why everything's gradually getting worse. And it wasn't gradually. It was like a steep slope. We went down, and inflation, everything went up. So yeah, it's time to vote. You depend on it. You want your kids to live in this kind of world? It's totally foreign to me. I don't know. We're not the rest of the world. We're the United States of America. We set aside from the rest of the world. We have rights. The individual is the sovereign. In every other country, the sovereigns are the politicians and their MPs and everything like that. In the United States of America, the citizens are looked at as the sovereign. And the politicians should be looked at, but not a lot of people look at it like this. But the politicians are people we hire. They work for us through our tax dollars. So, and if they can't respect that, in which they aren't, they should go. Oh, I got play another button or something like that. I love this fucking thing. Maybe it's a little bit too much. No, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. We're just going to say good night and thanks for watching. Until the next fucking episode of, like, I don't know, fucking drunk conspiracy theories or something. All right. Goodbye, guys.